Hi, you can call me Oilano, and I'm your one-man mystery school with more secrets for free. Apparently, it's just time for this stuff to be released. Today the topic is the universal law of resonance. Most of the time on Earth, a law is just a political tool. When the universe mandates a law, it is definite. It is chiseled into the structure like this is how things function here. That's it. So, big difference. Everybody seems very proud of their lists, and I'm not here to argue, so don't ask me how many laws there are. But resonance is about sharing a vibration. And that's got to be the easiest, most simple way to explain it. I could probably end the video right here, but I'm going to talk for a long time anyway, because there's magic in this. You can share all sorts of data through vibration. In a universe where the first and primary illusion is separation, sharing energies and data over distances is a critical element. Otherwise, this whole place is just full of islands, and the creativity burns out. The limits to the activities are exposed quickly and unable to patch without borrowing ideas from each other and from elsewhere. Every time we fix something for the first time, the solution is always inspired from somewhere else. It was just somewhere else the entire time. Like when you buy a video game that's a compilation of smaller games, like retro classics, there's always a bunch of games you'll never touch. Some you'll try once. This is a waste of data space. And this is kind of what prisons wish they could be. A place where an individual's creative flame burns out. And we never wanted this universe to turn into a prison, but here's one way it became one. When they want to display resonance, they usually line up some tuning forks, right? Strike one on the end, right? And then we watch the vibrations from the first, go to the next, and then they all start singing along. This is primitive stuff, where humanity will be taking this in the coming generations, will make this world glow with magic. Resonance proves that nothing is alone. The space between all things is actually filled, not with matter, but obviously, because we can see their effect, space is filled with conductors, or a dark conductor material we haven't named yet. But some have been calling it antimatter, which needs more of an explanation than that. So does light need conduction? Yes, and this is why it seems to disappear into some places. And this can help further explain black holes. Not dead stars, but areas in space where the resonance or the conductive values have changed for whatever reason but chaos. When we find these mystifying spaces, we should look at it the same way we see birds flying in formation. Okay, we're safe. We can just admire what's going on. All right, it's energy work that we don't understand yet. The world's doing its thing. It understands. We don't. Let's try not to fall prey to the Chicken Littles out there that can make careers with their doomsday stories and scaring everybody. Resonance is sharing data over a distance. When you put the right password in, your devices resonate with your modem. So this suggests that some form of compatibility needs to be involved in the equation when considering resonance. If everything resonated with everything in every way, okay, this universe would just be a muddy puddle. The rules, there are rules, and they create the structure for our art, living our lives, so it doesn't become just a muddy mess. As we expand, as we ascend, the rules expand with us, and more responsibilities can be affixed to humanity as a collective. Okay, Spider-Man would tell you, with great power comes great responsibility. But that's something you tell a teenage boy full of hormones. You need to settle down and focus. For us, those of us humans turn to become adults. The line reads, with great responsibility comes great power. And this is the divine direction. You grow into the home that suits you, and we will. we're going into this power. See, what if I told you that you're always projecting data? Even if you have no idea how to read a fellow human, you're projecting your data and you cannot turn this off. You can lie your entire life, but in the higher realms, you're incapable of lying with that projection. So a psychic or an empath is feeling what you're projecting well enough to translate it into language. Excuse me. So that's reading through resonance. The real power is realizing you're always doing this. Then realizing that the universe is always responding to it. And I'll tell you that yes, you can control your projections into the higher realms so you can get more of what you want down here. There's a lot of people saying this. I'm like one of millions. But this is getting into correspondence too, another universal law. This is why there are so many self-help books and gurus going around telling people pretty much program themselves for change. You got your 21-day challenges, your mantras, I am affirmations, your guided meditations. They're all an effort to change your inner vibration so the universe will see you're looking for better things and will start taking the bad things out of your life. And this is what happens. But people scare themselves out of change. Like 99% of the time. As soon as the things you didn't know were bad, when they start to leave. Okay, my girlfriend taught me, the only problem is that some people, the only problem with what I just said, is that some people are written into humanity so hard, they're like stamped into the story. All the I ams in the world can't change some people's destiny. So we gotta be careful because this can provide an anti-inspirational illusion. The rest of us have to fight with our own faith. So yeah, you can have a room full of people all wanting to go in one direction. If a few have it written that they won't change until they do something outside that room, you gotta let them go. So don't beat yourself up so bad next time you get fired from a crummy job. All right, here we go. Tuning forks, they can't say no to each other. One starts going, and the next is obligated to do as a tuning fork will do. They're bound to the masculine and feminine laws that created it with a purpose. The child of the universe is here to experience it in its entirety. And, how we choose. And this means we get to act like brats. We get the karma for it, but we get to act like brats and actually shut out what's best for us in order to chase 3D addictions while playing here. We are allowed to shun holistic healing in favor of chemicals. We pay for it, but it's allowed because we're the universe's offspring looking to experience it. We're allowed to open a burger franchise and trick our neighbors into consuming garbage meats. We pay for it, but it's allowed. The rib meat of the chicken. We elect salesmen to lead nations, then get upset when they only do things for themselves. It's allowed. Together, we've allowed it. So, you want to change? We gotta grow up. It's not on TV a lot, but I see and I know that there are more than enough humans on this planet ready to become adults and start taking control of things. Our little Donnie is not an adult. He's an 80-year-old fifth grader, but they all are, so what are we going to do? We're not voting our way out of this, out of our problems. We're not changing them by playing by their rules. We go to the source of all things, and we correct the flow that's coming to us. We become a species that's too good for hard times. So my entire curriculum is to inform y'all that bad times are over. We survived it all. Bigger things are available to us right now, but our arms are still full of the old BS. We keep trying to live like our parents did, or like Hollywood shows us. Gotta get ready to do your own thing. So back to that. Resonance is the It's kind of the key to magnetism. It's simply two things that are apart, get close enough, to each other's presence, their field, okay? Now they can see that they can complete each other. And there's an invisible desire for completion, so force is generated to bring them together. And this is why it's important that some magnets can be turned off, because now I have an example to give of something changing its field to change how things are attracted to it. It looks the same whether it's on or off, but when the magnet's on, now you can do work. Okay, and this is a huge key to manifestation. Let yourself get inspired here on Earth. Okay, find what charges you, in the way an industrial magnet gets charged and calls in what's meant for it because of that. Some of you just need a spark, and the good things will just start coming to you. Every human likes some form of music, and this might be the easiest example of resonance I can give, human to human, because we've all felt it at some point in our lives, a melody that moves us. And this begins as soon as a baby can wiggle. It's ready to dance to a beat. So this should tell you that you're here to resonate. You're here to find something to dance to wiggle with. Okay, you've been doing it since you were in diapers. You stopped for some reason. You thought it wasn't worth any money. Your unhappiness can be a symptom trying to show you that you're not resonating with your own life. If you're doing too many things throughout the course of your day that don't align with the real you, all the therapy in the world, all the pills aren't going to make it better. So, look around you right now. Can you say everything, that you approve of everything you've surrounded yourself with? And this is why aesthetics and decor matter. You got to surround yourself with things that can support who you are and who you want to be, or else you're resonating with stranger energy. It's the real reason doctors, put up their diplomas, their degrees. Back to music, though. Take a little bit deeper into the magic of this. Why do we call notes keys? Because music has the power to unlock things. And I've seen it myself. The best performers' secrets come out on stage, in live performance. Which is usually how I can tell when they're lip syncing. It's not just the sound, or the lights, or the screaming fans. It's the magic that a lot of these singers are capable of. That's been drawing you in this entire time. Singing's way more than just pushing air past your vocal cords. The best, most powerful singers might not even realize they do it, but when they extend a note, they spin their throat chakra. Seeing it with my inner eye, and the energy on stage just blossoms and fills the entire auditorium when a powerful singer stretches a note. I wish you guys could see what I see, but we're all getting there. And this is when people in the crowd will start crying. That's your confirmation of the resonance. Singing from the heart makes other hearts sing, and the audience just weeps. And now here's the ugly side of that. When I was growing up, there was always controversy around rock bands that start up mosh pits or even riots at their concerts. And music lovers never blame the band, but the bad fans. And no, man, now that I grew up and I know energy, I can see that it was always a relationship based on anger and violence. Those riot-causing rock bands I grew up with, and the fans that were ready to receive, they were already holding that seed potential to riot before the song wasn't even heard. Okay, they're holding that seed, that anger. So if there's a riot at a rock concert, yeah, sorry, but the band has to cash in checks because they did their job. They're kind of responsible. They provided the ambiance. Woodstock 3, it was an embarrassment. January 6th, Lil Donnie used other people's energy to express his own. They all did the same job. Ocean's 11 style. The world's bamboozled over the event because they're not seeing the energy is involved. You don't need training in an HR department to do work. You just need aligned energies. You don't need payroll. You just need aligned energies. And the people come together. Um, Resonance is the key to energy healing. Any illness or ailment will show up energetically as a void during an energy reading or a Reiki scan. This means it's either arrhythmic or in the wrong direction completely. So then obviously, the key to reversing the damage would be to reverse the flow of energy or to smooth out the rhythm. If the one suffering can't change their own energy flow, the only way is through resonance with someone else. So an energy healer would begin by scanning the client until something off is felt. The reader will be drawn to this area by magnetism because the healer is there. They're trying to energetically fill a void. And because this is a universe that feeds itself, the voids will make themselves known. Ailments do not hide from psychics. When you're sick, your pain is your body's energetic cry for attention. In the 3D, it shows up as pain and makes it miserable. In the higher dimensions, the pain is interpreted into all the data you can need. What's wrong, how it went wrong, how to fix it. An energy healer is a lot like having a trained ear. We'll listen to an amateur band, listen to their set to comb for mistakes. A producer looking for talent is looking for someone who doesn't skip notes. And this is what's happening with your body's projection when you're sick or injured. We don't understand how we're doing this, but all sickness and all injury is allowed by the human. We see people going through hell all the time, and we hear stories of struggle and loss, but nothing happens unless the universe thinks you want it and it's best for you. You don't know your vibration right now. You can check your little Apple Watch all day and monitor all those 3D things like your heart rate, but if your outer vibration says good health is too hard, too expensive, you don't have time, you're sunk. That's it. You're not getting what you're working for down here in the physical, if that's what your vibration says. We just don't understand how we're doing it yet. The universe thinks we want this, what we have, because of our vibrations as a collective. We complain a lot. What the news shows us, we complain a lot, but we gotta get sick of the complaining. She can see that too many of us enjoy complaining and worrying about the state of things. Too many people made their careers to complain and argue about sports and politics. Okay, at some point, we gotta say, all right, I complain a lot and nothing happened. Sinking to their level with violence or challenging them in their arena will not help. So, listen, what can we do? We gotta change how the universe sees us as a whole, and we'll receive different events. So let's say it takes a downward spiral when things fall apart. The energy, the vibe is sinking, and anxiety, fear, nervousness, and other awful things are washing over everything, because that's what it is. When you put a feeling on something, you put a coding on it for yourself, so you can recognize it as it treated you. All right, first impressions are everything. But when you combination stumble, you gotta start undoing the damage. Start getting back up the stairs. And it starts with reversing the event's energy. And that begins with forgiveness. All right, that was a long way to get to, so I can start mentioning forgiveness. Create your own pivot point, the neutral ground where you actually start from when it comes to healing. There has to be a decision to change the direction of the flow, and this happens with forgiveness. Remembering the fact that holding on to pain doesn't hurt those that hurt you. Okay, your enemies won't learn a thing from you punching yourself in the head. All right, and that's what you're doing. Every day you're holding on to a grudge. Your ops are getting what they want, and you're not. You gotta forgive and open up for that moment of clarity. No one can be helped that doesn't want it. It's our right as humans to refuse service and offerings, even if out of ignorance. This means that ignorance is something to fight. If you want to grow up into the great things that are coming, then no more of this ignorance is bliss bullcrap. We got to take control of our energetic output. And check this out. I watch a lot of America's Got Talent, and I noticed something. Something hit me after watching so many magicians work their stage. They're all simulating their best into the 3D, 5D, and 6D motions. Sleight of hand simulates teleportation, instant manifestation, portals, and it leaves everybody in awe because we're reminded of what's possible, even if they did use 3D trickery to put on their show. Well, think about it. If they perform, if what they perform on stage is really so far from impossible, we should be shunning them completely. Instead, they attract audiences and they make money because they're showing everyone what's real, but in a phony way. And we gotta settle for what they're providing. What if I told you that once upon a time, about 200,000 years ago, humanity decided to put away its magic? We decided we would do a really big magic trick, and we hid our own power and identity from ourselves, and still survived every terror inside of us by acting everything out, all the worst nightmares, and all the demons within each other as supporting actors. We lived through it all over the course of our history, and a lot of it is intentionally lost or forgotten because it's so bad. There's just nothing to learn from it to move forward. And this is like that Bible story where the girl looked back and turned to salt. Looking back to the bad things you've outgrown while you're trying to go forward can still crystallize you with fear. That story is a big warning. No fear now, among other things. But in this case, it's a big warning. But no fear now. Okay, our power is coming back as we grow ourselves. And here's where I tell you that you already know how to use this power. You've just been doing it wrong so far. But you probably did it today. All right? All right? Even in our denial, we still display the habits of magicians. See? Anger and hate are all attempts at resonance. You're trying to do magic every time you look at or think of someone and your breathing changes and your heart rate because you hate them and you want to throw them off a cliff or something, and someone you never even met before, like an athlete or something that just kicked your team's ass. Screaming at TV never changes the score. And how many people go to work grumpy on a Monday because their team lost on a Sunday? So come on, we gotta do better. I've seen it a million times. We gotta do better at choosing ourselves. We don't teach each other this. They skipped us on Sesame Street too. But when you're seething mad at someone, you're hurting yourself and hoping that the energetic damage you're doing affects them. Again, we are not tuning forks. A human has to decide to notice your energies and give a damn first. All right? This is why haters don't affect championships. People keep winning, no matter how many people hate it and get sick of seeing champions win. They'll win until they stop being great. I was there too. This is also, though, why one person cannot lead millions, unless, of course, they're not leading just trying to be famous. You're not a tuning fork. You've been keeping yourself small for others because you want to. The entire time, you've never been a victim. You just thought you were. You thought you were in a fight you couldn't win. You thought you were in a program that was bigger than you. But I'm going to tell you different, because humans deflect all the time. But we got to start doing it with intention. You start using your resonance with intention, you become the energetic leader. Okay? You become the biggest fish in the room, in the pond, all right? If all the energy around you, okay, is just flowing like driftwood, right? That means it's just waiting to be controlled by someone with some willpower and desire. Some BDE needs to come by and take charge. As we walk this planet, you're traveling around. It's like an energetic hamster ball of your own energy called your aura, okay? It's your energy, no one else's. But if you're unintentional with it, those who feel they need to push others will find you, and they'll push your energy in their direction. Again, back to what I was telling you about people causing riots and stuff. So here we go. You ready? I'm going to take a sip and I'm going to tell you. If I wanted to control you, I would not want you to realize your sovereign power concerning resonance. I would not want you to learn how to affect others without a physical confrontation I can have you arrested for. All right? I want you to think that improving anyone's life requires immense work. Get a loan. Pay that interest. Get yourself a business loan. All right? 7 years college. All right? Pay that interest. A lot of work. Right? But it's not. It starts energetically. If I wanted to control you, I convince you everyone is an island. And if they need assistance, get in line, beg the government, get processed. No one is allowed to be a miracle in the low-income neighborhoods while everyone's sitting around playing scratch-offs and waiting on tax season. It has to begin with one person. One tuning fork. I hope I didn't piss anybody off right there. But one tuning fork decides on change, right? Spins their energy differently. Energetically or consciously. You gotta just hope the next person gets it. And this is what I'm doing here. I'm trying to ignite the next person because we need alchemy now. We got to take control of the energies around us and use resonance to change the world, because politics ain't going to do it. You know, we can improve every industry and condition that is humanity's by improving our own collective energy. And now I'm going to repeat my first video a bit. You know, it doesn't exactly take all of us to rise. We can drag our neighbors up a hill if we get strong enough. And there it is. I think I've talked too much again. So, work on your inner vibrations. Focus on self-care. Start a vision board. Be gentle with yourself. Forgive without becoming a rollover people pleaser. All right? The other stuff takes care of itself. You name it. The economy, healthcare, everything like that will be forced to improve along with us or leave our field of existence entirely, and we'll have new ideas right away. But right now, we got what we got because it's what resonates with us. You know, election results follow our energy flow, not humans showing up at polls. Why do you think they're always disputing the data? Like they can't add until one number is bigger than the other, okay? They argue because their data isn't matching. They're not considering resonance and skewing the results. The popular vote would be like the physical ballots, the ones you show up for. But we get the candidate we deserve. And that's why the electoral tally won't match. So, that's the invisible forces at work. Everybody's like, huh? So that's resonance for now. I'll mention it in future videos, but you know, for now, that's the lesson I can give. And a little bit on how to use it. You know, so start practicing tomorrow. Everything I said, just put it in practice. If you liked it, click it. Subscribe for more secrets to the universe, and please share me with anyone you think could use me. All right. For my next video, or share me to piss somebody off. For my next video, I'll be getting into demonology with you. So I don't know if you realize this yet, but I'm not into repeating other people's research. Okay? My next video is going to be my experience with Leviathan. In my next video, I'll be teaching you how to end demons by telling you how I ended Leviathan. All right, or dealt with Leviathan. Because I still got to teach you how to do it yourself. All right, I'll see you there. Well, Lano's done for tonight. Much love. Thank you, and goodbye.